Hey everyone, welcome back to Racquet Guys. Today we are taking a look at something that has been a very long time in the making, the brand new Wilson RF01. Now, before we get started, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell notification buttons to keep up with all of our future content, including in-depth reviews of both the 01 Pro and the Future. Let's get started. The RF lineup was designed by Wilson in collaboration with Roger Federer during his last year on tour. They designed this racket to bring some of Roger's versatility and creativity, along with still providing a lot of that sort of modern game feel to the average player. And they designed this specifically to try to give you a little bit extra pace, a little extra spin, but still be a very versatile frame, really much a hallmark of Federer's game style. While the RF01 lineup comes in 3 different weights, we're going to be focusing on just the more accessible, sort of mid-weight range RF01. The RF01 comes in with a head size of 98 square inches, a weight of 300 grams unstrung, which comes out to about 320 once it's strung, a 9 points headlight balance, again comes out to about 7 points once it's strung. Ours had a swing weight of right around 317, which is going to vary a little bit depending on variance, but should be pretty close for you. And actually, after some further testing on our Wilson Tune Pro, this has a horizontal flex of 60 and a vertical flex of 70. Tech-wise, the RF01 really doesn't actually have a ton of technology built in here. The main sort of technology is called the Sabre frame design. The Sabre frame design is kind of made up of a couple of different things. So first of all, we have a much more aerodynamic beam shape, almost like a E-zone kind of style where it's a little bit more tapered. It does also have a variable taper beam, so it's a little thinner at the top, a little thicker sort of in the midsection, and again a little thinner towards the handle. It also has a thicker shoulder and shaft base for a little bit more stability, especially at net. The RF01 also has glide guard for a little bit more aerodynamics, again a little faster swing speed, 45 tech for more torsional stability at contact, and field fill, which is a little bit of foam filling just to give you sort of optimal vibration dampening so you get a good blend of response into the hand without being overly uncomfortable. I always try to have a really open mind when I'm going into any playtest. In this case though, because I had taken all the specs of the racket on the Tune Pro, I did have a little bit of an idea before I actually played with it as to how I thought it was going to play. However, I was very surprised that it played absolutely nothing like I thought it was going to. Based on the specs and the design philosophy of the frame, I was expecting a little bit of extra ball pocketing. I was expecting it to feel a lot softer, to still be a little bit more of like a controlled frame. And that was kind of how I thought Wilson was going to get the effect of more directional control, more pace control. However, what I found when I actually hit with it is that it was much crisper than I expected it to be, way more powerful than I expected it to be, tons of spin, higher launch angle than expected. Honestly, it was very surprising. Not a bad thing in any way. I actually really like it. The only issue for me was that it took a little longer for me to adjust to it because I sort of had that preconceived notion in my mind as to how I thought it might play. With that being said, once I got adjusted to the frame, it's awesome. So much free power, so much control still, so much extra spin as well. I do kind of wish that actually I changed the way I strung this up. I strung this with alu rough at about 51 pounds, which for me, interacting with this head size and this spec, pretty confident know how that would play. But again, it just totally surprised me. So I would probably string this a little tighter just to kind of give it a little extra control and rein it in a little bit more, as I was spraying a few balls longer than I probably wanted to, but definitely not a fault of the racket, and probably just the string set would have helped change something there. Like I mentioned, a lot more power than I expected, but definitely not too much power, especially from the back of the court. That little extra pace, a little extra spin, and the higher launch angle, it really kind of helps you feel like you don't necessarily have to swing fast at it. Even though the racket is definitely designed to move quickly and to generate a ton of racket head speed, and it was very easy to do that because of all the design philosophy built in with the more aerodynamic shape and the really headlight balance. It felt really quick through the air, but it was still very stable, which sometimes with a racket with a little bit of a lower swing weight, like this one has, it's only 317, which isn't necessarily a low swing weight for a lot of players, but it is a little lower for what I'm used to. Sometimes I find those rackets can be a little unstable at contact. Definitely not an issue here, still very forgiving. My favorite place to be though with this racket is definitely moving forward, either hitting and transitioning forward into the net or actually just hitting volleys. Those low balls, because of that higher launch angle, really easy to get low and to bring it up over the net without having to try to take a big rip to generate a lot of height. It kind of just gives you that height that you need already, so you can just focus on placing the ball where it needs to go. This thing is rock solid, probably as good or more solid than my Percept that I absolutely adore at the net. Tons of feel, really easy to put the ball wherever you want, whether you're punching it deep, trying to hit a nice drop volley. The tough volleys are really easy as well. I mean, there's really not a bad thing at all I could say about this thing at net. You can definitely tell the design philosophy has kind of come through here at the net because it's so maneuverable and it's so easy to get into position with this, but there's absolutely no loss in stability at all, which can sometimes happen with something that's so head light. 9 points head light, unstrung, is very head light. 3 to 17 swing weight is fairly low for this type of racket. So you're talking about something that kind of spec-wise can sometimes feel unstable, and really none of that. Very stable, very solid. A lot of shock dampening as well, so really comfortable as well, which is definitely beneficial for all players. A little bit of extra comfort's always good. On serve, I would say it's kind of similar to how I felt on volleys, but that being said, I'm also kind of dealing with a bit of an injury, so I only really got to hit like maybe 5 to 10 serves with it. So serving, I don't really have a ton to say about it. It felt very maneuverable. Really easy to get through contact. I felt like I was getting good pace on it. I can say that when I was hitting with Troy, when he was hitting with the frame, I mean, his serve was huge. He was hitting his spots extremely easily, almost right away. It looked like he was dialed in instantly. So if that's anything to go by, I would say it's definitely a great server's frame for sure. Overall, I absolutely love the frame. Anyone who is kind of looking for that really good blend of maneuverability, pace, and spin, and really wants to add something into their bag that's going to give them that creativity or allow them to be more creative on the court to hit different shots that maybe they wouldn't think to hit before, you definitely are going to want to take a look here. I wouldn't necessarily say this is geared to any one level of player, for sure. There's definitely a case to be made for a beginner all the way to a really advanced player to pick this thing up. So it's really just about your game style and if you think this might fit for you. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you guys really enjoyed our review of the RF01. It was really fun to play test this. And if you guys have any questions or comments about the racket or about any other rackets that you want to see us review in the future, let us know down in the comments below. As always, the Wilson RF01 is available in store and online at our RacquetGuys website. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.